Welcome to another new podcast. Glad to have you guys here with me today because I have a story to tell, and I'm surprised it hasn't come up sooner, but better late than never. And this is a 100% real and true story, eyewitnessed by your boy, to the worst simping I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm gonna give you guys the details, and we'll start with some background information so you understand the full context of everything that occurred. So this was about 7 years ago. I was working for a vending company. And I get up in the morning, I load my truck with all kinds of food, snacks, candy, drinks, and I deliver them along the route. And part of the job was to collect the money out of the vending machine as well as put new money into the machines so that it could dispense change. Now that might not seem like an important detail, but I promise it is crucial to the story. So when I first started, I worked with a guy, we'll call him Aaron. I rode with him and he showed me how to do the job. And this was probably about a 5-week training course. And at some point you stop talking about just work and you get into your personal life. So he told me about his family, his wife, his kids, what he liked to do on the weekend. And he started to open up. I felt like Oprah. And the longer somebody opens up about themselves, the closer they are to telling on themselves. And that's exactly what he did. So he told me that he liked to go to the strip clubs, this one club in particular where he had met a shooter girl. She walked around with the shot, so she wasn't even on the pole stripping. But he told me he would spend like $400 a night buying all her drinks, and he stayed there all night. And even afterwards, he would take her out to get food. So he's spending all of this money while he has a wife and kids at home. The story is bad enough just right here. So he shows me all of their text messages, and to no one's surprise, she was friend zoning him, but she was real nice about it. And he would even say, oh, she'll never give me a chance. But he was always so giddy when he talked about her, and he was ready to do anything for her. So there was this one particular weekend where he was supposed to buy her a piece of furniture. I think it was a couch or a coffee table. And it just so happened that it snowed that weekend. So we're talking about this Friday going into the weekend, and keep this in mind. They live in 2 separate towns, so it wasn't easy for him to get to her if there was a snowstorm. So he's telling me that he needs a place to stay in the same town as her so he could buy the furniture. And my first thought is, why are you spending a night away from your wife and kids in a snowstorm to buy a woman furniture, and you can't even spend the night at her house? Because I felt like he was trying to ask me to stay at my place, but that wasn't happening. I don't want you around, and I definitely don't want to participate in the buffoonery. So anyway, the weekend passes and we talk about it that Monday, and he tells me he did find a place to stay and he did buy her furniture. So not only did he buy the original item, but he furnished her living room. He furnished her bedroom, bought her a bed set, bought her a dresser. She had a daughter, and he bought her daughter a bed set, a dresser, a TV. So he spends all of this money in a snowstorm at a place he can't even stay while he has a wife and kids at home. And I'm pretty sure you're wondering, how in the hell was he spending all of this money and his wife didn't find out? Well, here's what was happening. I remember when I rode with him, he would always have these wads of cash that he had in a little pouch. And we would leave, he'd stop by his truck, he'd grab the wads of cash, and then we'd go to the bank and he'd drop it off. And I always thought that was strange, but he said he played the lottery and he was lucky. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is some bullshit. And it was. So one day we're all at the job and he's not there. And they call us in for a meeting and they tell us they fired him because he was stealing from the vending machines. So all that money that he was depositing at the bank, he was going around to our routes, going into our vending machines and taking bits of cash. And then he was spending it on her, not even his own family. And not only did this idiot lose his job, he got arrested and sent to jail because they said he stole enough money to buy a brand new car. So we're talking about tens of thousands of dollars that he was spending on a woman whose house he couldn't stay at, who he was getting no buns from, while he had a wife and kids at home that he was neglecting. And I'm just like, bruh, you ruined your whole life over nothing. You can't even say you cheated on your wife. This is like diet cheating. I don't understand why a man would go through these lengths to spend this kind of money on a woman that he's getting nothing from. And maybe he just liked the intimacy of having a beautiful woman around in any form he could take her, but god damn, you gotta have some self-respect, and he ruined his whole life over some pussy he never got. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you guys have anything to say, please leave it in the comments below. And until another time, I'll see you guys later.